guys, I'm Steph. Thank you so much for checking out my channel today. I am so excited to be doing a full face of e.l.f. makeup. That is what you are seeing today. And I have talked about doing this video for a while. Pretty much in all of my collection videos, I was like showing you all the e.l.f. products I have but have not yet used. And I said I kept saying I was going to do this video, and it is finally here. So if you're interested to see like the rest of my makeup collection, then I will have the playlist for that linked down below. But this is the look. So everything I'm using today is an e.l.f. product. The majority of the products I am using are new to me in the fact that I have never used them before, but they have been in my collection for a little bit of time. And that's pretty much it. In about 2 weeks time, I am going to be doing an update kind of. These are my first impressions on these products, and I want to test them out for you, kind of give you my first thoughts, but I want to also do a more thorough review and kind of let you know what I really think about these things and how I found the best way to use them and how they work for me, and not just give you a first impression, but really give you a more in-depth review to see if they are worth it, how I like to use the best, and kind of give you a bit more food for thought on these products. So if that interests you, then make sure you keep on watching so you can see how I got this look. And if you really want to see what I think of these products, then make sure you subscribe so you can check out that video in 2 weeks. I look so cool. I like them. Anyways, not what we're here for. As you saw from the intro, this is going to be all e.l.f. makeup, so just diving right into it. For primer, I have the e.l.f. Blemish Control Face Primer. I have not tried this before. I have tried another e.l.f. primer in the past. I believe it was a blurring one, and I honestly did not really love it, so hopefully this does something for me. I believe it has salicylic acid in it, which is like great because my skin is having a bit of a freak out, so anything that is going to help it is welcome. So I'm just going to be putting it all over. I don't love the smell of it. It seems to be going on fine. Almost feels like moisturizing lotion-y, which I don't mind. I would rather that than my skin feel like super slippery. I do have oily skin. I feel like a lot of people with acne prone skin tend to have oily skin, so I like that this is kind of just like settling in right away and doesn't feel like too slick. When it comes to foundation, I actually have two options. I have the Acne Fighting Foundation and the e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation. This is in the shade Porcelain, and this is in also the shade Porcelain, but they look kind of different in the packaging. I haven't tried either of these foundations before. I have them swatched out. This is the Acne one, and this is the Flawless Finish. And I'm not sure if I should do like half. I was going to do half my face, each one, but they seem to be like quite obviously different colors, so I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to just test out one of them today, and the other one I will test out within the next 2 weeks, and when I do my wrap-up video, I will be able to kind of give you a more thorough review on both of these foundations. Primer we're using is already an anti-acne one, so I think I'm going to go with the Flawless Finish for today's foundation. So I'm just going to take one pump of that and like dab it all over my face, and I'm just going to blend it in with a sponge. Actually, I have a blending brush. I'm going to try that first. I don't have high hopes for it. The brush I'm going to be testing out is the Ultimate Face Blending Brush from e.l.f. and honestly I feel like it's too fluffy. I wish it was more dense. I just feel like it's not enough to actually buff it in and get the coverage I want. I feel like it picks up a bit too much. I have tested out this brush a little bit before, and I just have not been the biggest fan of it for blending out foundation. I honestly don't feel like the brush applied everything too badly. You can see it there. Like I feel like it just tends to soak up a lot of product, and I don't know if it's the foundation or the brush, but I'm really not getting the coverage I want, so I'm going to go in with a second layer of foundation. So just kind of building up in those areas where I want coverage, and it claims to be a lightweight foundation with a natural coverage, so because of that I'm not like expecting to have crazy coverage. I would just like a little bit more to cover everything up. I would think the Acne foundation probably has higher coverage, though I don't know for sure, so that's definitely something I will be looking for this week when I am testing them out. So I do feel like that brought up coverage a little bit, and I feel like my skin is looking nice and glowy. I like having a bit more of demi matte. Like I don't mind a bit of a glow finish. I don't want to look like I'm slicking off oil, and when I go in with like a salicylic acid type primer, then I'm worried my skin is going to look to overcompensate and look too dry, so I like the finish of this look so far. Next for foundation, I'm trying the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer, and this is in the shade Fair Warm, and I'm just going to be blending this out with, I think I'm just going to blend this out with a sponge, which is what I tend to do for concealers, and I want to kind of get like a good impression of it. This is quite light. I think I'm just going to put a bit down the bridge of my nose in here to like brighten up those areas, but I'm wondering if I went too light. It's hard when in a drugstore when you can't like test things out. I look so utterly ridiculous right now. So just blending it out with a sponge. Okay, so again, this was a product I had not used before, and had I known how bright this concealer was, I would only consider putting it under foundation. It is just way too light and brightening for my face. My chin was like stark white. I had to go over it with the brush, which is a good thing I had the brush, so I blended that out a little bit and on my nose as well. The under eyes, I just tried to blend out, but I feel like they look so bright to the point where they kind of like emphasize my dark circles because it's not covering up the darkness, it's kind of like peeking through and it's just drawing attention to that area. So again, I feel like going forward, this is a concealer I would wear under my foundation. Next to test out, I have two face powders. This one is the Prime and Stay Finishing Powder, and then this one here is just the finishing powder. This is in Fair Light, this is in Translucent Fair Light. Honestly, neither of them are really coming up, but when I put my finger in them, this one just feels like so smooth and like butter, and this one has like a little bit more grit to it. So I think today I'm going to go with this one, but again, I will be testing out the other powder as well, and then kind of letting you know my thoughts on that. So this does come with a little puff, which is nice. I won't be using it, I'm just going to use a brush, but nice to know that it's there. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's definitely super powdery, so definitely something to be mindful of. And then just going to use that to set my face all over. So there is my whole face set down. I mean, it feels fine. It doesn't look overly powdery or cakey, I would say, to the touch. It doesn't feel like everything is 100% set, which I don't love going in with like layers and layers of powder. Even though I have oily skin, I just don't like to cake it up. So just going in with that again to kind of like make sure it is like dry to the touch. But overall, it seems to be looking nice. We'll see how it holds up with kind of like keeping everything set. I also have two bronzers, but I am going to be testing them both out. The first one is from this Fiji duo set. So this comes with a blush and a bronzer. So just to show it to you there. So I am going to be using this bronzer because it is matte. And then the other bronzer I have is the Sunkissed Glow Bronzer. So this is more of a shimmery formula, so I don't necessarily want to put this all over my face, but I like having a bit of glow to my bronzer sometimes, so I'm going to be using both of these just to kind of get a feel for both of them. I actually don't need to say that. I know this product so well. I have panned it twice, but I have really enjoyed it, and I really love having that glow on my cheeks. This is a new brush from I'm also going to be testing out. This is the pointed powder brush, and I thought it would be really good for like the hollows of the cheek. So going in with the bronzer from the Fiji Matte Duo. I feel like this brush is almost like a little too soft to kind of get that look I'm going for. Like it is like really fluffy, which is nice, but then it's also like when I'm trying to get a more almost contoured look, it's not really holding that pointed shape. Okay, so right now it's hard to judge the bronzer because I really think this brush is not doing it any favors. It doesn't really seem to be applying it so well. It just feels like this brush is almost like too fluffy. I don't know, because like it's just, I feel like I have to use it again with some of my other bronzers that I'm a bit more familiar with to get some feelings on the brush. As for the bronzer, like it's slightly showing up. I mean, I like the color. Again, like these are just first impressions. I just kind of wanted to do a full face of e.l.f., really like get to know my e.l.f. products. If you've been watching my collection videos, you know I have a lot of these products that I had never touched before, so I wanted to sit down, do this video, kind of touch on all these products, really get to know them so that in 2 weeks time I can give you like a proper review on like everything e.l.f. that I own. And this is kind of just a way to motivate me to actually use all these products and kind of show you like first impressions and really show you that you can't just get to know a product off your first impression. Like it's going to take some time. So it'll be interesting to see in 2 weeks time like what I think of these products after having tested them out in different ways. So going for this glowy blush, this is the bronzer brush I typically use. It is like a lot, it's a bit more denser, it's kind of rounded, so we'll see how that applies. I'm just going to put it on the apples of my, not the apples of my cheeks, I'm just going to put it on like my cheeky area where I would normally bronze. And I do like this bronzer. I feel like it gives a little bit of glow to the face without being too much. And just to swatch those bronzers for you, this is the shimmery one. It almost like looks like quite golden. And then this was the matte one from the Fiji Duo. Moving on to blushes, I have this matte one from the Fiji Duo, and then I have this shimmery one, which is Twinkle Pink. Here we have the matte one from the Fiji Duo. You can see it's like a lot more of a neutral shade, and then the shimmery one, Twinkle Pink, which is a lot more pinky peachy. I think I'm going to go in with this one from the Fiji Duo, and I'm going to try to use the other side of the pointed brush to see if that can maybe be a better application of this brush. It's kind of starting off back here. I think I'm going to put twinkle lights on like the apples of my cheeks, so I'm just trying to bring in some color in this region, which went on so strong. So this definitely packs a punch with blush. So I tried to blend that out a bit, and it's a bit much, so take with it what you will. I'm just going to use Twinkle Blush on the apples of my cheeks. I like the little bit of glow that gives. I'll definitely be interested to see what it looks like as just the one and done blush, if it is enough pigmentation to it or if it ends up being too glowy. So for highlighter, I also have two. I have the Shimmering Highlight Powder in Starlight Glow, which looks like this. And I also have one of the e.l.f. Baked Bronzers in Moonlight Pearls, which looks like this. So just to give you a side-by-side comparison, this one's a little bit more golden, this one's a bit more pearl. I can't really find a good place to swatch them, so just showing you here. This is Starlight Glow and this is the baked one in Moonlight Pearl. I did swatch them in my highlight collection video and I feel like it came a lot clearer in that. My collection videos, again, are linked down below in the playlist, so you can check all of those out. To be honest, I have used Starlight Glow a few times and I do not love how it looks. I'm going to continue to test it out, but for today I think I'm going to try out the baked highlighter. And I'm going to be using the powder brush from e.l.f. I have not used this brush before, but I have heard that it is good for highlighting, so I'm hoping that that will be the case. Even though this highlighter swatches beautifully, I haven't rubbed off the top layer yet, which I know can be an issue with the baked highlighters, so that might be something I need to do if I want to see the full effect of this. Okay, so I did end up having to scrape some, but you can see the highlight there. It definitely is glowing. I'm really enjoying that, so I'm really happy with how that turned out. Normally at this part of my routine, I would spray my face down. I don't have an e.l.f. setting spray. I have used one in the past and I did not really love it. I definitely never wanted to repurchase it. I didn't enjoy the smell of it, so I wasn't going to pick it up just for the sake of doing this video. So I'm just going to skip facial spray today and move on to my brows. And for that, I have the e.l.f. brow pencil. This is in the shade Natural Brown. I love this pencil. It's definitely not a new product to me. I've finished one up before, at least one. I really like this. And there are my brows done. I just think it fills them in so nicely and naturally. I don't know if you noticed before, but I have a scar there and I feel like this does one of the best jobs about actually filling it in and adhering to the skin. It is a bit more of a waxy formula, which I feel like really goes on nicely, and I feel like I really love this brow pencil. Moving on to eyeshadow, I have three eyeshadowy type products. So first up, I have the Matte for Matte eyeshadow palette in Summer Breeze. So this one has kind of more like the warm tones in it. I have this liquid eyeshadow, molten liquid eyeshadow in Rose Gold. And I have a smudge pot in Cruisin' Chic. So it's kind of like a taupey shimmery shade. So because I don't have an eye primer, I have used an e.l.f. eye primer before and I don't love it, and definitely would not repurchase it. I used it up last year in my Finish 18 in 2018. So I think I'm going to use the smudge pot as kind of like my base. So that is Cruisin' Chic all over my lid. I honestly feel like you could just buff this into the crease and it could be a beautiful one and done eyeshadow look. All of the eye brushes I'm going to be using are e.l.f. This is the blending eye brush, and I think I'm just going to take this shade on the end for now and put that in my crease kind of like as a transition shade. I think I'm actually going to go into that same brush and then go in with this shade to kind of bring a bit more of a pinky look and kind of put that a bit higher than I put the transition shade. I have hooded eyes, so I feel like if I really want the colors to show, I really need to start like moving up into the brown boned type area, or else you won't see anything once my eye is actually open. Next, I'm going to go in with this brush. It's very similar to one I just used. It's just a tiny bit smaller. So this is the e.l.f. crease brush. I'm going to go in with this darker pink shade and just really line that in like the socket basically, and really go in there and kind of like deepen it up and give it a bit more dimension. So just really focusing it right in the socket. Next, I'm just going to take this e.l.f. crease brush and kind of just blend everything out so nothing feels too harsh and my eyes look even. So there is nothing on this brush, I'm just using it to kind of blend everything out. This is a newer brush to me, first time using it, and I don't think I'm a fan of it. Feels like a paintbrush almost. It just seems to be like sliding everywhere, not really doing what I want. Maybe I'm not using it for the right purpose, and that could be a contributing factor. I mean, it does seem to have blended everything out okay, but putting it on my eye felt a little interesting. Then I'm going to use this defining eyeshadow brush, which has like a bit of an angle. I love using this for my under eye. I think for the shadow I add to my under eye today, I mean, how could I not touch that purple? I'm like so drawn to it. It's a bit darker than I would usually go for a lower lash line accent, but I really want to test it out. I don't think the eye look looks bad, but I'm so curious about this molten liquid shadow, so I think I'm going to put it over the base I kind of have laid down just to see what it looks like. Oh, that's really pretty. I love liquid shadows. This just gives like a really nice, beautiful like shimmer to the lid. So just so you can see, this is what it is. This is just Cruisin' Chic. This is the molten liquid in Rose Gold, and it just gives such a nice effect to the eyes. It's definitely opaque, so it's not like a topper. This is like full-on eyeshadow. Oh, I love that. Like a lighter color on the lid, I feel just like, especially because I have hooded eyes, I feel like it really just opens it up and brightens my eyes. I really like that. So I actually have a liquid eyeliner, but I don't think I'm going to go in with it. I I don't think it's a brown shade. It's in the shade Coffee, and I just don't think I really want it for this look, and I'm not sure how it's going to go over the liquid eyeshadow. Just to let you know though, I have used this eyeliner pen in the past, and like I love it. It dried out on me because I left the top off, and I was like devastated. Like I really like this. That being said, it was like years ago before I was really into makeup and before I had tested out a lot of things. So I'm excited to dig into this again and kind of see if my thoughts have changed since I've tried new things, but I remember really loving it, so I'm excited to see what the new next few weeks bring. I feel like I've heard e.l.f. has notoriously not great mascara, so I do not have high hopes for this. This is the Lengthening and Volumizing Mascara, and I don't even think it comes in this packaging anymore, which kind of shows you how old this mascara is. That being said, the lash primer that comes in this tube, or used to come in this tube, I really enjoyed. I really think a lash primer can make such a difference and is such an underrated makeup product, but I'm going to just be trying out the mascara on its own. Okay, so this is my first time opening this mascara. This is what the one looks like if you're not familiar. It's just like a natural bristle spiral type thing. It honestly looks like the ones you get at Sephora, like that are the testers. And it was like so dry. So I don't know if that's the formula or just because this product is old that even though it wasn't open, it somehow dried out. Like I was getting very little on my lashes, and again, like hard to tell if that's the formula or the age of it. So I dropped some like contact solution drops in it just to kind of like wet it a little bit to see how it goes. And this is what my lashes are looking like. I don't hate it. I definitely feel it gives length and a little bit of separation. I feel like this could be a really great natural lash mascara, which is not really what I love. I love a bit more volume, and I feel like that's not really giving it to me. But again, I don't want to judge it too harshly just because it is old, which is not really the product's fault. It's more my fault for not using it sooner. So I will continue to use it, maybe try layering it with some of my other mascaras I have open to see if I can find a way to like it and let you guys know. And last but not least, to complete the look, we have lips. I have 3 e.l.f. lip products. This one might look familiar. It is in my project pan. This is just the e.l.f. lip crayon in Natural, which looks like this. I also have this cream lipstick in Touch of Berry. I really like this shade. I think it is so beautiful, especially for this time of year. It can go on sheer, or you can definitely build it up a bit more. And then I have this lip lacquer in Natural, and this is like a free gift with purchase from the e.l.f. website, and I ended up like loving it. This became one of my favorite lip glosses. I think I'm going to do Touch of Berry and then put the lip lacquer on top. I love that the lip lacquer kind of just neutralizes the deep berry tone of the lipstick and also brings like that shine to the lips. So here you have the complete look, and for a bunch of products I had never tried out before, I am actually really enjoying it. Just to let you know, I have 2 new products to me that I didn't get the opportunity to test today. That was the e.l.f. Acne Foundation, obviously e.l.f., as well as the Prime and Stay Finishing Powder. So when I do the update on all of my e.l.f. products, these are the ones I'm going to be wearing in that video. So if you want to see how those actually look, then make sure you subscribe so you can check out that video. That being said, when I do my video in 2 weeks, kind of reviewing everything, I'm going to touch on all the products I showed you today, as well as any other e.l.f. products I have in my collection. I have maybe about 3 or 4 more e.l.f. products, so I'm just going to give you like a thorough overview of everything e.l.f. that I own. And I have the opportunity for these next 2 weeks to test out these products in different ways and different combinations and kind of see how I like them, maybe with different brushes and that type of thing, to kind of see how they work for me and give you a better, much thorough review than just kind of my first impressions right now. That being said, I wanted to leave you with the products that I am most excited to continue testing out. The first being the e.l.f. Blemish Control Face Primer. I'm always interested to see if these primers are actually going to do anything to help with my skin, or if it's really just a gimmick, just putting a bunch of makeup on top of something with salicylic acid even still make a difference. So I'm interested to see if this actually helps with my acne. This product I actually bought kind of last minute so I could do a full face of e.l.f., and that was the Camo Concealer. I have heard a lot of things about this concealer, and it was something I kind of went out and purchased last minute, so I don't believe it was in my concealer collection video, so this is something very new to my collection. And it was a bit brightening. I'd like to see how it looks under foundation, but I'm excited to see if I can find a way that I really enjoy this because I've heard so many great reviews on it. And last but not least is the liquid shadow. I really enjoy it. I'm excited to see how it goes with transferring, how I can pair it with different eye looks, maybe putting shimmery shadows even on top of this to intensify it a bit more. I'd be interested to see how I can like work this into other makeup looks. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye!